Here we go. Now is our national championship part of this college football preview. And if you're at this part of the show, then you are a true fan of the Tom Greene Show.
I know Bo Schembechler would have already tuned out because he only cares about the Big Ten. So
those who stay
will be champions.
Is that a Brady Hope voice?
Those who stay will be champions.
There we go. Now,
I did a bunch of work under Bo Schembechler, and I just know that if you stay here, you'll be champions. It's like this deer here is a champion because he stayed, and he doesn't have a choice because his head's been chopped off, but he's a champion. And if you're still watching this show, you're champions too, just like Michigan is going to be, because Michigan men are unstoppable. All right, now I'm going to go eat some sausage and gravy.
Don't forget the biscuits.
I don't know. Brady Hoke just said sausage and gravy, so I don't know if there's any biscuits in there, but that was his favorite meal, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But still, buttered biscuits with honey. Oh, man, KFC biscuits.
Okay, let's go back and forth. Picks for teams
before I get into a food coma. Anyway.
Yes. Teams that have the potential to be in the national championship game. Let's start with you.
Okay, potential teams. I will start with, and I hate to say it, Alabama. Why? Because Nick Saban will tell you why.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Roll Tide. That's all I can say. I agree with that. Alabama's defense will be better than it was last year, because last year their defense was actually, if it were like anybody else's, they'd be considered awesome, but for Alabama it was actually not that great. Defense will be better if their offensive line is good or even just kind of solid. I think Alabama will be right back in the hunt. I have to go with Ohio because obviously I picked them to win the Big Ten championship, which means that plus their schedule is just really soft. If they had if they were playing Alabama in a non-conference game, I wouldn't be putting them on this list at all, but they don't. They only play Slippery Rock teams for 4 games. So they have a weak schedule, and because of that, I think they have a chance to get in.
Mm-hmm. Another sleeper pick, if Manziel plays, Texas A&M.
I like that pick. I think A&M is really exciting. And
we don't need you.
I don't know much about their defense, but we'll find out a little bit as the season goes on. That's kind of the question mark. I don't know about their offense, or I don't know about their defense. That's slogan of the year. I will say I'm going to go with Oregon.
That was going to be another of my sleeper picks, Oregon.
Even though I think they're a soft team, I just think that they're always like one win away. They're like one win away from getting to the title game. They lose to one team. They have that one game. I just think their quarterback's older. I think he's going to be better. Yeah. I think Oregon's hungry. This might be their last opportunity after losing Chip Kelly to really make something happen. Mm-hmm. I just like their experience, so I think Oregon's got a chance.
Oregon,
more of a dark horse, but I do think that they're definitely have an opportunity.
Another team to put on the list, LSU. I think Mettenberger's going to have a little bit better year. Their defense, although they lost Mingo, I think it's still going to be solid. Les Miles is known as a defensive guy. I do think their offense will be a little better, and if they beat A&M or Bama, or both, you will definitely see them in that race.
Yeah. Unless they play them again.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
Will it be another one-loss SEC school winning the title? Mm-hmm. We'll find out.
I know. Speaking of one-loss SEC school, Georgia.
I'm not going to put that's a good pick from you. I'm not going to put them up there because they played Clemson in their first game, and I think that is a trap game to use Lee Corso's. Whoa, that's a trap. Not so fast, my friend. That's a trap game. First game of the year, and they had the guts, unlike Ohio, to take on a team like Clemson with that offense. That's a huge trap game.
I was very surprised by how Clemson played in the Chick-fil-A Bowl against LSU, because I thought LSU would take that game take the cake that game. Taj Boyd said, "Not so fast, my friend." and Clemson won on a last-second field goal.
Yeah, Taj Boyd was talking trash to Clowney too, and he said, I'm not scared of him, because Clowney came out and said that quarterbacks are afraid of me, and Taj Boyd's afraid of me, and Taj Boyd said, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
My dark horse team, and this is an extreme one, is the opposite team they play, and I'm going to go with Clemson. They had Howard's Rock vandalized. I think they've got a chip on their shoulder. Taj Boyd's another year older. Sammy Watkins is back. I think they are explosive offensively, and I think their defense might be a little bit better this year. I think they're a dark horse. I think they're a long shot, but they don't play in the SEC. So if they take out Georgia, that could rocket them to a potential appearance in the national championship game, depending on how everything else works out. But that's
dark horse, Florida State.
FSU haven't proven a thing yet, but we'll see if they do it this year.
They've seemed like they have. It seems like every year they're under the window, but they always tend to go 11-1 or 12-2. They always seem to have a really good team until they play Florida.
The Gators last year, man, I couldn't believe it. Florida was awful, and they still beat Florida State. So, yeah, the Gators just own the Seminoles. Like, it's insane. They own the Seminoles, they own Tennessee, they own, like, everybody. But until Florida puts together an offense, I can't even go with my beloved Gators. They're going to have a great defense as usual, but I don't buy their offense. So, Florida for me is not on.
Do we dare put Michigan in there?
You know, I don't see any reason why not. I mean, we have them going to the title game. It's like, what if we're wrong about that and they win both those games, or they lose the first and win the second? I think they're favored in every game in my book until they play Ohio. And then I think they're only like 2 or 3 point underdogs when they play Ohio. Just because it's like they haven't beaten them a lot. Ohio's got the momentum in the rivalry. But I think Michigan, to me, is favored in every single game except for Ohio. But I think they can beat them. They have the talent to do it. So they're an extreme dark horse, but
a dark horse.
A dark horse. All right. Well, I think I'm good. I don't know if I have any other teams that I think.
I can't really think of one more team. And if I do think of a team, it'll be another SEC team probably. We already got Oregon in there.
I mean, I'm not even going to start throwing out like Oklahoma or Texas or any. Those teams I think are pretenders year in and year out. So, yeah.
Why don't we put Stanford in there? Last team, Stanford.
Stanford, a big physical team. Well, SC's down.
USC is, on the record, I will say it, trash.
Yeah, USC.
USC thinks they're pro, and they think that Lane Kiffin is one of the best coaches ever. Now, I will say, and you will agree with this, that he has a hot wife. I remember you on the record saying that.
And then she turned 30.
Wait a second. Oh, I won't say that he's over 30. Anyway.
Yeah, but I was never hot, so. Yeah, USC's in trouble because once they lose Marquise Lee, God, let's hope the Lions get him. Oh, yeah. Man. Marquise Lee, Calvin Johnson, Super Bowl.
How can you depend your franchise on Max Witek?
Or the other guy, they're both playing. They haven't even selected a starting quarterback yet.
See? There starts the trouble right there in USC.
All right, so we have Bama, Ohio, Texas A&M, Oregon, LSU, Georgia, Clemson, FSU, Michigan, and Stanford. Got some good educational schools at the end of that one.
So there's 10 teams. We have.
So pick. Let's see here. I'll go first. I'll pick one team.
Okay.
Last year, if you remember, which most of you probably don't, I chose Texas A&M. But I do think that Manziel's problems are going to be a distraction to this team, and I think they're going to lose 2 or 3 games this year. So I think A&M's not going to be the team in the SEC. I just love Alabama and what they do. I love their running back, their quarterback's veteran, their defense is good. They have to replace their offensive line, but they'll just plug in more big boys, and with the coaching staff that they have, Kirby Smart as defensive coordinator, I think they're just too good. I like what they're doing. So one team, I think Bama's back in the title game this year. So that's one of my teams. So that'll be Adam and Tom, and I'll pick my other one in a minute. So who's one of your teams?
One of my teams. I hate to agree with you, but because it's Alabama, but if they have another season like they did the last 2 years, put them on. Alabama. I think McCarron can do the job when he has to, and Yeldon played like he was a junior last year. He was a freshman.
Yeldon was great, and let's not forget the other guy who was a freshman last year who was awesome was Amari Cooper, their wide receiver. Talk about Mr. Clutch. SEC championship game, national championship game, the Michigan game at the beginning of the year. The dude just blew. I mean, he had the biggest catches against every team, and the guy was a freshman. That's disgusting how awesome that is.
And then the play that really aches me really hurts to talk about is McCarron's pass to Yeldon against
the
LSU.
Screenplay, yep.
To win the game.
Brilliant screenplay call, yep.
Because LSU had that game almost in the bag.
Oh, I watched that game, and the entire time my gut was telling me LSU's going to win. And usually when I was getting that feeling, it's like I had that feeling when A&M played Bama. I was like, my gut's just screaming upset today. And I kept watching and kept watching, and all of a sudden it was like they did.
And then all of a sudden the interception in the end zone with a minute and a half to go, which won the game for A&M.
Yeah, and Yeldon, he actually fumbled in that one. But, yeah, it was surprising. LSU lost to Bama in that game, but champions win games like that. So, all right, my second team. Who is Alabama going to play in the national championship game? Well, I can pretty much eliminate all the other SEC schools because that's not going to happen. LSU, Georgia. Let's see. I'm going to go with Ohio. I think Ohio gets there. Again, I think their schedule is incredibly soft. All they have to do is worry about Michigan once, maybe 2 weeks in a row. But